Everyone thinks you fire a general when the war is over. Dead wrong. On April 3, 2026, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth walked into the Pentagon and removed General Randy George, the sitting U.S. Army Chief of Staff, while American troops were actively engaged in combat against Iran. Not after the conflict. During it. And that single decision reveals something deeply unsettling about who is really running America's war right now. Stay with this, because what happened behind closed doors is far worse than the headline. General Randy George was not just another officer. 37 years inside the United States Army. Commands in Iraq and Afghanistan. Confirmed as Army Chief of Staff in 2023 with strong bipartisan Senate support. He was the four-star general responsible for every single Army soldier on the ground right now, including the ones actively deployed against Iranian targets. His job was to translate political orders into battlefield action and to protect his soldiers from decisions that could get them killed. Remove that person in the middle of a war, and you don't just lose a general. You tear a hole in your own command structure at the exact moment it cannot afford one. But Hegseth didn't fire George out of nowhere. For weeks before this moment, there was a quiet war happening inside the walls of the Pentagon, one you were never supposed to hear about. Hegseth, a former Fox News host with zero military command experience, had been clashing openly with senior Army leadership over control, strategy, and personal loyalty. Officers were reportedly afraid to speak honestly in rooms with civilian leadership. George pushed back against Hegseth's directives. He refused to simply comply. And for a man like Hegseth, who demands loyalty above all else, that refusal was unforgivable. The message sent to every officer watching was impossible to misread: fall in line, or fall out. Here is what most people don't understand about military command, and why this matters to you personally. In a live war, the chain of command is not a bureaucratic flowchart on a wall, it is the nervous system of every single military operation. Every troop movement, every emergency request for air support, every life or death tactical decision flows through that chain in real time. Remove the top link suddenly, without preparation, and you don't just create a vacancy on an org chart. You create hesitation throughout the entire structure. Orders slow down. Subordinates second-guess who they actually answer to. Confusion spreads through the ranks. And in active combat, confusion does not create delays. It creates casualties. The United States has never fired its Army Chief of Staff in the middle of an active armed conflict. Until now. Let's be clear about what is actually happening in Iran right now, because the media has been burying the severity. U.S. forces have been conducting sustained strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities and military infrastructure since early 2026. American soldiers and airmen are in active harm's way. Iran has armed proxy networks operating across Iraq, Syria, and Yemen, all of them actively targeting U.S. military assets on a daily basis. This is not a skirmish. This is not a limited police action. This is a war. And right now, in the middle of all of it, your army, the ground force responsible for the heaviest fighting, has no confirmed chief of staff sitting at the top of its command. What Hegseth is doing has a name, and official Washington refuses to say it out loud. It is a loyalty purge. Since taking office, Hegseth has removed or quietly sidelined multiple senior officers who were seen as insufficiently loyal to the administration's political agenda. Randy George's firing is not an isolated incident born of a single disagreement. It is the latest and most dangerous move in a systematic, deliberate reshaping of the United States military's senior leadership, replacing experienced, independent voices with officers who will not push back. A more compliant army may be exactly what Hegseth wants. But the question no one in power is answering is this: whether a more compliant army is actually a more effective one when the bullets are real and the decisions are irreversible. As of right now, there is no confirmed Army Chief of Staff while U.S. troops are engaged in active combat operations overseas. An acting replacement has been named, but acting officials carry fundamentally less institutional authority. They carry less weight in the room. They have less standing to push back when civilian leadership makes calls that experienced commanders would flag as dangerous. Senior military analysts and former officers are now asking a question that no one inside this administration wants to answer publicly: if Iran retaliates at a scale we have not yet seen, a real escalation, not just proxy strikes, is US Army Command structurally ready to respond with the speed and clarity that saves lives? Or has Hegseth's purge left the top of the chain hollowed out at the single worst possible moment in a generation? Here is what nobody is telling you, and this is the part that should keep you up at night. Right now, senior officers across every branch of the United States military are watching what happened to Randy George. And they are making a very quiet, very personal calculation, whether speaking honestly to civilian leadership is worth the end of a career they spent decades building. That self-censorship, that instinct to tell the secretary what he wants to hear instead of what he needs to hear, does not stay in a conference room. It travels with every commander into every decision about this war with Iran. And that calculation, happening right now in the minds of the people responsible for your country's military, may already be determining whether this conflict ends in weeks or in years. If you are watching this right now, you already care more about what is actually happening than the average person scrolling past a 3-word headline. This channel exists for exactly this, to go behind the news, find the hidden layers they skip over, and explain what it actually means for you, in plain language, without the spin. Follow now. Subscribe so you do not miss the next story they are hoping you overlook. Because in a situation moving this fast, the next development may matter even more than this one, and you will want to see it before everyone else does.